Welcome back, everyone! Today is going to be another sketchbook spread day because I haven't been working on this puppy nearly as much as I should. You all probably know by now that I love creatures and horror, so it should come as no surprise that I'm into things such as SCPs and the Backrooms. I plan on doing some SCP art in the future, but for today we're going to be doodling some fauna from the Backrooms. If you don't follow internet horror trends and you have no idea what I'm talking about, the Backrooms is basically a collaborative fiction project based on the idea that you can accidentally slip out of our reality and into an infinite, randomly generated liminal space hellscape. The Backrooms consist of many different levels, which are full of potentially dangerous monsters and weird fauna known as entities. So today I'm going to be focusing on some of the less dangerous entities. So I got my sketchbook, I got my coffee, let's get into it. So the very first Backrooms entity I wanted to draw is definitely my favorite out of all the entities because, you know, I'm a huge dog person. I first heard about this guy in a compilation video about Backrooms entities, and that's how I decided that I needed to do some fan art specifically to draw this good boy. This is entity number 84, also known as King Rasputin Bartholomew III. That's a mouthful, so for the rest of this video, I'll just be referring to him as Rasputin. He is described as being a male 4-year-old chow who seems to be in good health and constantly appears well-groomed. He has a red collar with a bone-shaped tag that has his name on one side, and on the other side are the mysterious words, "If lost, return to the 7th dialect of the March of Atrodium, the killer of Youngum." Nobody knows what this means. He doesn't require food or water, but will accept both if offered, and his favorite food is peanut butter. Rasputin roams various levels of the Backrooms on his own, but if he happens to find a friendly human, he will join up with them and even protect them from hostile entities. For the most part, other entities either ignore or avoid Rasputin, so if you were to become trapped in the Backrooms, this guy is a pretty good ally to have, as long as you don't pet him too much. The wiki states that when petting him, the fur on his body does not seem to connect to anything, instead going deeper and deeper depending on where you begin. Approximately 30 centimeters into the fur of the entity, one will begin to be pulled into the fur via unknown forces. When about half a meter into the fur, one will find themselves falling from the ceiling into level 241. Level 241 is a pocket dimension that's basically an empty animal shelter where you could potentially be attacked by an invisible force that will tear you to shreds. The only ways out are to sign a packet of adoption papers or by way of a metal door in the area where the invisible creature likes to hang out. Once you're out, you'll reappear wherever Rasputin is. When I first heard about Rasputin, I was kind of sad to hear that it was dangerous to pet him because just look at him. I thought you had to avoid petting him at all, but it turns out that if you pet him softly, you're not in any danger of being pulled into the pocket dimension. A huge blessing for those of us who would not be able to resist giving this precious boy a pat. My favorite things about this article are the little tidbits they included in there, like the suggestion to clean his face after he eats because he gets messy, and also that you should not be mean to him because he's a good boy. Whoever wrote this is clearly a dog lover, so shout out to them. Next is entity number 119, known as Volpes. Unlike Rasputin, this isn't just one individual entity, but an entire species that resides on outdoor Backrooms levels such as 135, 118, 140, and 250. From far away, they appear to be normal foxes, but if you manage to get close, you will find that they have 2 tails and a big honkin' schnoz. I will admit that in this sketch, I failed to make the snout as big as I should have. It turned out only being slightly bigger than that of a normal fox, but as much as I love drawing canines, I don't actually have that much experience drawing foxes in particular. That bit me in the butt in that I wasn't familiar enough with the rules of fox anatomy to be able to bend those rules far enough for the Volpe. But it happens, so I won't be too hard on myself over it. Anyways, back to the description. Volpes are said to behave very similarly to foxes, although they appear to be far more aggressive and will try to eat you if you get too close. It is believed that it is possible to tame Volpes, but no one has ever tried it. Volpes like to make dens in the ground to escape extreme temperatures, which they will furnish with various simple security systems such as twigs that will alert them to intruders upon being stepped on. Volpe dens tend to have many tunnel systems and usually contain a cache of food. While the large snout of the Volpe helps them track down food, it isn't currently known why they have 2 tails. Unfortunately, because nothing is safe from human greed, there is some concern about vulpes potentially being hunted to extinction because some of the Backrooms residents have found their fur to be quite fashionable and valuable. And that's the gist of the vulpes. Hopefully this article will be expanded upon at some point, since I'd love to know how these critters came to be in the Backrooms. Our next entity is number 37, the Curabiter bird. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But like every other entity I'm drawing today, the Curabiter bird is a species rather than a single entity. They are found on any level with a population of death moths, another entity upon which they feed. These bird-like creatures are harmless toward humans and will attempt to flee if approached, albeit very slowly. Curabiter birds float for their entire lives by way of a bioluminescent gel which they store on their back, which is lighter than air and can also be extracted by humans for use as a light source. Their wings are mostly vestigial and only serve to help propel them through the air, though not very well. They spend most of their time in a dormant state until a male death moth, attracted by the light of their tongue, lands on it and becomes stuck on their adhesive saliva. Curabiter birds do not attack female death moths as they are simply too large. Although death moths aren't the main focus of this sketch, we'll go over them too. Might as well. Death moths are entity number 4 and are found on levels 2, 3, and 5. Their main population, known as the hive, is located on level 5, where they are almost the only creature to be found. They are much larger than regular moths, with females being particularly gargantuan. While males are harmless and can be tamed, the acid-spitting females would rather just see you dead. Because their hive is such a dangerous place to be, not much is known about the behavior and the life cycle of death moths. And since we have a little time before we get to our next creature, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor for today's video. Just kidding. But no, I wanted to let y'all know that I have been super motivated to make videos lately because I'm finally finding my stride as far as what direction I want my content to go in. I have 4 cryptid iceberg videos lined up for y'all in the next couple of weeks, and I already have plans for my next regular video. I want to get more into creature design as well as drawing horror art from internet culture, so there will be a mix of original stuff as well as fan art from things like the Backrooms, the SCP universe, etc. Someone suggested a while back that I draw one of Trevor Henderson's creatures, and I'd love to do that, but I also need more suggestions for which ones to draw to make a full video. So if you have any ideas for any manner of monster, myth, or creature mashup you'd like to see me draw, definitely leave me a comment. And our last entity is entity number 25, known as Plague Goblins. I was getting pretty tired at this point, so I didn't color these, but I did do 2 sketches to make up for it. These little guys have cat and bird-like qualities and tend to travel in packs as they scour the backrooms for food and other materials. They get their name from the little masks they wear, which resemble that of a plague doctor. They are usually quite shy, and the biggest threat they pose to humans, especially lone travelers, is that they will attempt to steal things. Groups of plague goblins are thus referred to as a swindle and generally range between 9 and 27 individuals. These guys are a lot smarter than the other entities we've gone over today, and their page, which I will have down below along with the others, has a lot of information about their social structure and whatnot. They are really cool little critters, so I highly recommend going to read about them, as the author or authors obviously put a lot of love into creating them. Anyways, plague goblins are tiny little things, usually topping out at around 17 pounds. They are covered in fur-like feathers and have dexterous feet for grabbing onto objects, which they tend to shove into their cloak for safekeeping. Under their mask is a beak full of sharp teeth and large luminous eyes. Their large ears aren't just for hearing, but also for communication via body language. Plague goblins are edible, although given their level of intelligence, I personally think it'd be kind of weird to hunt them. Plague goblins can eat just about anything and appear to be immune to psychological anomalies found on various levels. If you spot a plague goblin as something you want, you might be able to trade one for one of your own items if you manage to get close enough to them. They show particular interest in travelers who can kill another entity known as a hound. They are extremely easy to repel in the event of an attack, but if you'd like to avoid trouble with them, it's recommended that you not venture near their nests or leave your valuables out where they can be tempted by them. Overall, it seems like if you just avoid antagonizing them, they're pretty chill little critters. I had a little bit of blank space in this spread that was bothering me, so I did a quick doodle of another death moth to fill it up. Although I did end up tiring out for the last bit of this, I'm really happy with the sketchbook spread. I especially love how Rasputin and the Curebitter came out, both cuties in their own ways. I am really looking forward to uploading more in the coming weeks. I want to bring y'all some more random creature designs and possibly even some yokai. So yeah, I'm excited, and like I said, if you have ideas, let me know. I'd love to interact with y'all more and draw some things you'd like to see. With that, I'm going to let y'all go, so I hope you enjoyed watching the creation of the spread and hearing a bit about the Backrooms. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.